For those in chat already waiting, my name is Ethan Rose. Give me one moment and we will get right into the stream. Thank you. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. That link didn't work, so I have to redo it. Ba, ba, da, da, da. I know this is the boring part of stream, but just wait. We will be live in, I want to say 3 minutes. And we just have one more thing to do, and that's post it live on Twitter, and we will get into the show. My apologies for the delay, but usually there is a short little intermission period to start things off. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into the stream. Alright, so, for those who don't know me, allow me to introduce myself. Welcome to episode 1 of a show I don't have a name for yet, but this is pretty much to where I will come and I will discuss football, sports, UFC, and other things to post live for you all the time. Whether it be news, whether it be hot takes, whether it be giving my thoughts and opinions on a topic, you will get the thoughts of Mr. Rose of Roses and Wrestling. I know it says wrestling in my name. However, this is the start of a new era for me. This is a start where we lean a lot less into the TEW content and a lot more into me. I love TEW to death, but I kind of want to do something more with my life. No, I don't want to do your ads. Stop. Get out of here. Stop. Now, forgive me if this stream's a little bit sloppy. This is my first ever PC stream. But we will get right into it. So, what am I doing today? After the NFL draft and the offseason, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts and takes on the NFL draft. Not the NFL draft, the NFL predictions. I'm going to be predicting wins, so we'll run down the tier list real quick. 15 plus wins, 12 to 14 wins, 9 through 11 wins, 6 to 8 wins, 4 to 5 wins, 1 to 3 wins, and I made a 0-team win list. And I'll be explaining why. I'll also be going over every team's NFL schedule and giving my thoughts and opinions on how well each team will be doing. So, we'll start things off with the Buffalo Bills, and a very bittersweet team for me. Don't want to talk about why, but Buffalo Bills schedule 2025. Ignore the awful spelling. Alright, let's just... Because I think it was yesterday that every single schedule was released. And, yep, all 17 games announced. So we have the Ravens, Jets, Dolphins, Oh my god. Ads. Ads everywhere. I don't want to register for anything. No. Stop it. Ravens, Jets, Dolphins, Saints, Patriots, Falcons, Panthers, Chiefs, Dolphins, Buccaneers, Texans, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Browns, Eagles, Jets. Okay, very solid schedule. And by solid, I mean solid in the way of a very winnable schedule. A lot of teams on there are, in my eyes, ranging from mediocre to bad. Just to say it out loud. I mean, let's just take a look at some of these teams are going against. The Jets, I think the Jets are very winnable games. Dolphins, same situations. Saints, winnable. I think they're going to split the series with the Patriots. I think the Patriots have gotten a lot better in the offseason compared to where they were last year. They're actually building their team around Mac Jones, which is something I've been trying to say for years. Or not years since he got drafted last year, but ever since he got drafted, that if they want to succeed, they need to stop doing what I call the Bears franchise strategy. And what the Bears always did, and this has always got on my nerves, it's like what they did with Justin Fields, is they pretty much take this amazing prospecting quarterback and they just throw him into a team that's falling off. And instead of building a team around this top of the line, young, up and coming quarterback, they just throw him to the Wolves. And then once they fail, they don't blame the team. They don't blame the management. They don't blame the GM. They blame the quarterback for sucking in a system that was literally built for them to fail in. And so with the Patriots building their team around Mac Jones, I don't think they're going to be great this year. I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team, but they're definitely going to be improving. I think they're probably going to get... I'll give my take once we get to the Patriots. Falcons is a winnable game. Panthers, Chiefs. I feel like there's going to be a couple upsets on here. I feel like they're going to struggle with a couple of these good teams. So I'm going to put the Bills at 12 to 14 wins. I think they're going to be a playoff caliber team. I think they're going to win their division with relative ease. Outside of that, there's not really much else to say. I think they are going to slowly decline as a team because they haven't really been improving in the offseason. They've been trading away their top stars. They've been trading... top stars have been retiring. And my mindset is this when it comes to the Bills. The Bills are very much a one-player team. They have Josh Allen. And if Josh Allen goes down, their entire team will go down with them. It is a captain sinking with the ship kind of situation. So if Josh Allen stays healthy, I got him going more 14 wins. If he gets a serious injury, it's going to be a lot worse of a season. I think they're going to be going down to 9 to 11. But I wholeheartedly believe that Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills will be getting a 12 to 14 win season. Up next, we have the Miami Dolphins. And... well, let's just look at their schedule. 2025 schedule. Yes, I'm doing all the research while we're on stream, because that's the entire point of this. Just chatting. Colts, Patriots, Bills, Jets, Panthers, Chargers, Browns, Falcons, Ravens, Bills, Commanders, Saints, Jets, Steelers, Bengals, Bucks, and New England. It's an alright schedule. It's like a decently tough schedule, but I'm going to just get this out of the way now. I don't think the Dolphins are going to do well this season. Sorry, my Miami fans, if I even have any Miami fans. I mean, I'm sitting here with one viewer. Shout out to that one viewer, by the way. But I think the Dolphins, they have been a team that sort of tried to replicate the Rams Super Bowl strategy in the sense that they pretty much sold their soul. Going for Tyreek, drafting these receivers, trying to stick with Tua. They're trying to run until the wheels fall off with a team that has very much made it clear that they cannot win a Super Bowl. They cannot go as far as they want to. And they keep losing pieces in the offseason. They lost a lot of players in the offseason that made their team somewhat decent last year. And I think this year is going to be a start of a rebuild. I think that they're finally going to realize Tua, his head's too messed up to continue with him as quarterback, which is sad. I love Tua, but I don't think they're going to be great this season. I got them going last in their division. Let's just get to the point. Both of these teams. Ooh, this is going to be the interesting one. We'll go with the Jets first. I got the Jets going 7 wins. I think now that Aaron Rodgers is gone and they rebuilt their coaching system a little bit, they have names. They have good and high value names on their team. And this is the thing that didn't make sense to me last year is they had pretty much everything they could. They had everything to succeed, but it was Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers cursed the team. They were dragging him down. Aaron Rodgers, he was they pretty much gave the Jets a savior complex, expecting this 42-year-old, constantly high, old man to show up, save their team, and take them to a Super Bowl. And once that Achilles tear happened in, not this last season, but the season before that, his career was over. And the Jets could not accept that until he actually started playing. But now that they've moved on, I think they have Justin Fields as a quarterback. I got them improving quite a bit, going to 6-8. It's just 6-8 through 8 wins. I don't think they're going to be a playoff caliber team yet, but they will improve significantly from last year. A lot better play, and for the first time in a while, I think it'll give the New York Jets fan base a little bit of hope. And the other team that is going to have high hopes is the New England Patriots. I have the Patriots over the Dolphins. Okay. And why do I say that? Well, the Patriots, I'm not even going to have to look up their schedules. I'm going to try to avoid looking up schedules unless I need to, but the Patriots, like I said earlier, their big thing was trying to replicate Tom Brady and hold on to the past. I think that's been their biggest issue these past couple seasons is they've been stuck in this mindset of, oh, we just need to get the next Tom Brady. We need to get the next Tom Brady. We need to get the next Tom Brady. Hate to burst your bubble. There's never going to be a next Tom Brady. Tom Brady was a once-in-a-generation player, once-in-a-lifetime player that I was lucky enough just to catch the end of his career. That my father was lucky enough to watch his entire career. One of, if not the greatest of all time when it comes to the NFL. You're never going to replicate that. And I think now that New England's kind of accepting that, and accepting the fact that they're going to have to rebuild a new system around their new quarterback in Mac Jones, that they're going to be improving. Again, I don't think they're going to improve into a playoff caliber team this season. I got them in the playoffs in the next 3 seasons, if they keep improving like they're supposed to. But they went and fixed some of their biggest issues they had, which were their offensive line and their weapons. They got an older Stephon Diggs, which worst case scenario is Stephon Diggs. You have a veteran receiver who's going to rub off on the younger receivers that you drafted. And when it comes to the O-line, I really like God, I'm having a brain fart on the name. Again, I'm not a sports analyst by any means. I'm working on it, but hang on. Patriots Draft 2025. I don't remember his name, but they got this offensive tackle or offensive lineman in the first round, and I think he embodies what this is my heart. I'm really disappointed he didn't fall to Philadelphia, but we are going to scroll down. I got to figure out his name. Will Campbell, LSU. Yep. I think Will Campbell, I've seen a lot of his college highlights. He is going to be the definition of your offensive lineman that plays for 15 to 20 years, is nearly untouchable, makes a bunch of Pro Bowls, and he will go down as an absolute legend. Like, there's just a certain kind of offensive lineman in my mind that you think of that fit this role of a wall, a protector. I mean, who in their right mind in front of millions of people will walk on stage and go, I will sit there and I will die protecting this man, unless you're either a clown who's going to be an absolute flop, or an absolute legend in the making. And based on his college stats, if he can replicate any of his college play and college potential into the NFL, I think he's going to do great. I think the Patriots are going to do a lot better, and it's going to be a rare spark of hope ever since Tom Brady has left the team. Now we're moving on to the AFC North. All right, let's just run through this one. First of all, Baltimore Ravens. They're the Ravens. They're going to win their division. They got a little bit better in the offseason, not by much. It's not going to be too drastic of a change. I think they're pretty much going to replicate their 2024 season, to where they make the playoffs, win a playoff game maybe, and then get thrown out by someone. Okay, you know what? Let me just skip to the point. Let's just put them all right up together, and I call these the AFC 3. Actually, I'm not missing anyone big from that. Okay, so the big 3 of the AFC: Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs. They're all guaranteed to get 12 to 14 wins. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to regress a little bit from last year. They're going to have a Super Bowl hangover, but they're still going to win their division. Come on, they're the Chiefs. They got Patrick Mahomes. They got their Chiefs devil magic. It's not going to be enough to get them a Super Bowl, but it's going to be enough to get them another winning season. I do see them going on the lower end. Actually, let me put this in order. I got the Ravens winning, or Ravens at the highest so far. They're going to get 14 wins. Bills at 12 to 13, and the Chiefs at a barely get to 12 wins. Leaning more towards putting them in the 11-win category, but I could still realistically see them get 12 wins, which is why I'm putting them at 12 to 14 wins. The Ravens... See, this is a weird thing about the Ravens is their team is never good enough to make the Super Bowl, but they're good enough to make you think they can win the Super Bowl. And that is the weird thing about them. That's what they kind of make me think, well, should I put them this high? But you can never doubt Lamar. You can never doubt Mark Andrews. You still got Derrick Henry, who hasn't regressed yet. I think he might regress a little bit this season. But bottom line is the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to be a good team this year. They're going to continue their sort of dominance in the AFC North, and I don't think any of the other members of the AFC North will be able to compete with them. I think there will be a wild card team with them, but outside of that, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, they securely win their division with relative, I wouldn't say relative ease for all of them, but they are the firm, locked-in winners of their division. They will be for years to come. The Bengals. Ooh. Oh, God. See, I love the Bengals. Bengals are my second favorite team in the NFL outside of the Philadelphia Eagles. But you have this issue. And I'm going to point out these two biggest flaws on the Bengals on why I'm going to have to put them lower than where I want to put them. And that is defense and offensive line. Now, again, I'm no sports analyst. I'm not the best at this. I'm learning. I'm trying. But in my mind, even though they went and tried to improve a little bit, they signed their tight end to a huge deal when they needed offensive linemen. I think it was like Trey Hendrickson is his name or something. Hang on. Wait, no, Trey's like the defensive lineman. Let's just take a look at their offseason real quick, and then I'll make my actual call. They re-signed T. Higgins and re-signed Jamar Chase. They signed Oren Burks, re-signed Joseph Ozai, and they re-signed Cody Ford. Now, notice how we'll just go ahead and make sure I'm not missing anything before we get into it too far deep. And now, uh, you have returning Jamar Chase. Yeah, we went over that. T. Higgins, Logan Woodside, Joseph Osai, Cam Sample, B.J. Hill, Marco Wilson, Mike Gesicki, Cody Ford, Tanner Hudson. Yeah, they're re-signing a bunch of people. Let's scroll down to the new arrivals. They signed a linebacker, a guard, another linebacker, defensive tackle, running back. They lost a running back. They lost an offensive tackle, defensive lineman, another running back, and Sam Hubbard retired. More guards, more tackles, more linebackers going into free agency. I just they're losing too much on the spots that they need weapons. And not weapons. They don't need weapons. They got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow. They need protection. They need defense, and they keep losing those pieces every year. I love the Bengals to death, but they keep going down this trajectory. You're going to have every single week Joe Burrow putting up 77 points a game, throwing for 850 yards, 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. But the defense, they're going to let up 80 points. The defense is going to cost them. That is why the Bengals, I wholeheartedly believe that if they had any kind of defense last year, they would have won the Super Bowl. Not would have won, because I think the Birds would have still beaten them. But they would have made the playoffs, and they would have made it securely, not just a close, end-of-the-line situation. And I don't think that the Bengals, they didn't fix their team enough. That's just my mindset on it. They're stuck in this limbo because they think that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, sorry, I'm UFC brained, and T. Higgins, they're stuck, that they're going to take their team and carry them to a Super Bowl. That's not how it works. Unlike the NBA, this is a team sport. You can't just sign one or two superstars and expect them to take you all the way. But before I make the executive call, because they're going either 9 wins or 8 wins, let me just check their schedule really quickly. Let's just take a look really quickly at their schedule. Browns, Jags, Vikings, Broncos, Lions, Packers, Steelers, Jets, Bears, Steelers, Patriots, Ravens, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Cardinals, Browns. As much as I hate doing this, I got them on the lower end of 6 to 8 wins. I think they're going to get more wins than the Jets. I think they're on the higher end, maybe 7 wins. Jets at 6, Bengals at 7. But I don't have the confidence. I don't have the confidence in Cincinnati Bengals. And if they go off this year, good on them. But I don't believe in the Bengals like I used to. It's starting to feel like the olden days before Joe Burrow again. And that sucks. Now the Cleveland Browns, 1 to 3 wins. I hate the Cleveland Browns. I hate them to death. I hate everything about the Browns. And this is, I know this is, we're talking about bias here, but this is bias. They have no quarterback situation. Their quarterback is going to be, Joe Flacco. I think he's Joe Flacco. Sanders, some other first rounder they got, and it's going to be some sort of 3-way brawl between them, and a 3-way brawl between trash, pretty much. I think Sanders is probably the most overrated quarterback prospect ever. I think he's the definition of a Nepo baby. I think that if he was not a Sanders, he would not have been drafted. I think the fact that he fell off as hard as he did was not only right, I think it was fair, I think it was deserved, because the way play, you play like a 4th or 5th round pick. And yet you hype yourself up like you're this first round megastar, and you have this ego to where you make your entire draft room. And yet, what have you done? You didn't win anything in the college football. You didn't win any championships. You didn't win any MVPs. You didn't win any Heismans that I know of. No. You made a team that sucked watchable. Congratulations. Should we give the New York Giants a reward for that too because they signed Jameis Winston? You made a team watchable. That doesn't mean you're a good player. I have them winning at the most 3 games. Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, that's my point. Broncos going to make a run. I guess since you're actually in my chat, I will go ahead and skip over for a little bit to the Broncos. Denver Broncos. I'm really impressed by them. I'm really impressed by their development in the offseason. I think the big thing they kind of need to work on is their offense a little bit. I'm not super confident in the offense. However, what I do think is going to carry them to such a good season, in my mind, and this is a movie quote, and a quote I get told all the time, is that defense wins championships. I think the Denver Broncos have one of, if not the scariest defense in the NFL, to where it will take one of the most high-powered offenses to actually rattle them. I don't even have to check the schedule. I'm gonna confidently say they're going to have either 10 or 11 wins. I don't think they're going to do as good as the Chiefs. As much as I hate the Chiefs, you cannot just deny the Chiefs that they're one of the best teams in the NFL. I think the Broncos are going to give the Kansas City Chiefs a run for their money this season, though. I got the series going 1-1. And I have the Broncos being a wild card spot in the playoffs. Very solid team. I don't really have much to say about them. They're just going to be better than they were last season. Just a little bit. And I think once they do get some weapons on offense, a little bit more weaponry on offense, that they are going to go from good to elite. And I hope they do. I hope the Broncos, they take over the West, and I hope they take over the Chiefs and make them cry. Go Broncos. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me double check the Steelers' schedule because I think they have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL so far. Alright, let's just run through this. I think the Jets are a winnable game. However, these teams are, I like to say, pretty much same level teams. I think it's a coin flip. I think I might give it to the Jets, actually. Seahawks, that's a loss. Patriots, I think you can win it. The Patriots. Vikings, another loss. Browns win. Bengals loss. Coin flip, leaning towards a win. Loss again. Coin flip, loss, win, loss, win, loss. I'm going to have to lean a bit more towards 4 to 5 wins. I'm going to have them at the top of the 4 to 5 win category. I do think that Mike Tomlin is going to carry them enough to where they aren't going to fall at the bottom, but they have nothing. And unless they go out of their way to get a quarterback in the next 2 weeks, like Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins, to where maybe they can get put up here on the 6 to 7 win section, I have no faith in the Pittsburgh Steelers. None whatsoever. I actually never did have faith in the Pittsburgh Steelers. And in my mind, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been the worst winning team in NFL history. that the only reason they're winning is because they have Mike Tomlin, who has some sort of devil magicry to where he will always get a minimum of a 9-8 win season. I think that magic is running out. I think that they just don't have it anymore. You got DK Metcalf as a receiver, but who's going to throw to him? You got rid of all of your main weaponry that's been carrying you to these 9-8 seasons over the offseason. You sent George Pickens to Dallas. You got rid of Najee Harris. There's nothing about... If I'm a Pittsburgh fan, I'm miserable. Because I know I'm going to do just enough to not get a first top 5 pick. But I'm not going to do enough to make the playoffs. And that is the disgusting part about being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, is there's no hope to either be worse enough to have hope of a rebuild or good enough to make a championship. And I would genuinely rather be a team like, we'll get into them later, the New York Giants, than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Alright, next on the list, we got the Houston Texans. I got them winning the division. 11 wins. What else do I need to say about them? They're a great team. I think they regressed a little bit in the offseason. They lost Stephon Diggs, but Diggs didn't really do much anyway for the team. I think you're in a easy-to-win division. There's not a lot of pressure. You face... 6 of your wins are pretty much handed to you in the Colts, Jaguars, and Titans. And I think you could very easily win 3 or 4 games outside of your division. I got the Houston Texans winning their division comfortably, with relative ease, sweeping most of their division. I think they might have a split 1-1 with the Colts, but outside of that, there's not really much stress if I'm a Texans fan. Good on the Texans. I've always kind of rooted for them. They're the underdogs from the underground. Always, or they used to be stuck in the shadow of the Dallas Cowboys, and now they're finally making a name for themselves. Good for the Houston Texans. Hope y'all do well this season. Again, kill Patrick Mahomes. Speaking of the Colts and their series 1-1, they're in the middle of the Bengals and Jets when it comes to talent. I'm sorry. I don't think Anthony Richardson's going to do enough to take the team out of limbo. And I think they're going to be stuck in the middle ground limbo until they either move on from Anthony Richardson or they push Anthony to the next level. I like Anthony. I think he's entertaining. I really hope he succeeds. But based on the way he's been playing, he has not only a frail body is he injury prone, he has a frail mind. He will quit at halftime if the game's not going his way. That is not a winning quarterback. A winning quarterback will sit there when they're down 30 points and go, you know what, we're going to come back and we're going to swing until that bell rings. And I don't care if we win or lose. I don't care if we come back or not. We're going to go out there and we're going to lose with dignity. We're going to fight until we can't fight anymore. It doesn't matter if it's a blowout or a close game. We're going to keep fighting until that fourth quarter ends. And whatever the scoreboard is, we're going to walk out knowing we did everything in our power to win. Anthony Richardson does not have that fight. He does not have that dog in him. Which is why I think they're going to do just enough to get maybe 7 to 8 wins, barely miss the playoffs, and repeat pretty much their season from last year. Jaguars. Ooh. They lost, in my mind, the weapons that made them good. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be decent. I'm going to put them above the Steelers. I think they're going to get 5 wins. I think it's going to be kind of an improvement morale-wise with their new coaching. But they are in another rebuild. They are going to need a lot of luck if they want to get in that 6 to 8 win category. But I just don't see it happening. I think Trevor Lawrence, he's a great quarterback, but he just does not have enough around him to take that team to the next level. I think the new coach is going to do good for the team. I think the Jaguars are going to make a slight improvement, but it's not going to be enough to push them into that next level. Tennessee Titans. Now, before I get beheaded for this, because I know a lot of people are kind of hyping the Titans up a little bit based on their draft, based on their offseason. This happens every year. Ever since that, I think they last time they made the playoffs is when they went to the AFC Championship and lost to the Kansas City Chiefs back when they had Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown. Every year it's been the same cycle of we draft good quarterback, we draft good O-linemen, we sign a few veteran receivers. Did you know that not T. Higgins, I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart. You know, that's actually that's playing into my joke right here. That whenever you sign with the Titans, your career goes to die. That whenever your career ends, you sign with the Titans. Whether it be Julio Jones, whether it be, God, this is proving my point. I can't even list off names because that's how forgettable they get. Titans, wide receiver room. Let's look at their depth chart real quickly. Starting off with Cam Ward, I think he's gonna do decent, but it's not gonna be enough. I think Cam Ward's good, but not great enough to take a team to that next level. I think he's gonna have a good rookie year, but it's gonna be a Justin Fields situation of he's surrounded by nothing. You're surrounded by Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, Treylon Burks, old, injury prone, old. Don't know who you are. An awful offensive line. Their defense is made of wet tissue paper. Outside of Snead. But even then, you need more than one player to have a good defense. So for the Tennessee Titans, I have to stick with 1 to 3 wins. I think they might get 3 wins. At the most 4, but I'm leaning towards 1 to 3 and them having another first round pick level season. The Las Vegas Raiders, Oakland Raiders. This is another team, and this is not going to make sense of what I'm going to say. I think they improved quite a bit. 4 to 5 wins. Now, I do think that the Raiders did well in the offseason. They did well in the draft. I think they're going to improve quite a bit. But I think the team's going to need a season or two to gel together. I think they're going to need some more, fill in some more holes, fill in some more gaps, find more weaponry. Because they have just started their rebuild. And this is the first positive step in the rebuild. And I'm going to give them this. The rebuild is going to go well. I do think that in 2 to 3 years, they're going to be a 9 to 10 win team. If they keep up this pace, and if the team gels right. But the stars are going to need to align for the Raiders to become a good team, and I don't think the stars are aligning this season. I think they're going to go from a 1 to 3 win team to a 4 to 5 win team. But hey, baby steps. Raiders fans, hold your heads up high. The future is looking bright, just not for the 2025 season. LA Chargers, I got 9 and 8. Maybe 10 and 7. I think the Chargers improved in the offseason, but they're in just such a tough division that getting third place is going to be a compliment. I think the Broncos are a much better team. Not a much better team, but I think the Broncos will win. They're going to tie 1-1 in the series, but they're going to be a better team. Broncos at 11 wins. I'm going to put them at the same level. I think they're both going to get 10 to 11 wins. Maybe on the lower end of 9 to 10. But they're going to have good seasons. I think my wild card spots, 2 of them are going to the Broncos and Chargers again. AFC, I don't think there's going to be a lot of changes in the AFC this year. Actually, you know what? Broncos are winning the West. There's my hot take for the 2025 season. I think the Chiefs are going to have a collapse. I don't think it's going to be a collapse in the sense of like a complete and utter failure. But going from like a near perfect season, they ain't going to have that again. They ain't ever going to have that again. The Chiefs did not do enough in the offseason to convince me that their dynasty can stand strong. And that is why I'm going to have the Broncos winning that division. Dallas Cowboys, comfortable 8-win season. Actually, I'm going to put them right in between the Colts. Same thing I had to say about the Colts, I have to say with the Cowboys. They have Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens. Actually, you know what? The Cowboys are the NFC version of the Bengals. I do not like the Cowboys. I am a Philadelphia fan. Diehard Philadelphia fan. But, in the grand scheme of things, the Dallas Cowboys improved just enough to not be an awful team. But not enough to get to the playoffs. They were relying too much on this constant quarterback to receiver strategy. Jerry Jones, he's not... I think Jerry Jones needs to be replaced. I'm siding with the Cowboys fans on that. Because on a realistic point of view, Jerry Jones is stuck in this mindset of, let's get a quarterback, 2 receivers, and they're going to carry us to a Super Bowl. And that's not how it works. They're stuck in this mindset of sticking with the same players every year, signing the same players every year, sticking with the same team until everyone's retired, and then slowly rebuilding. That is not how it works. The definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And I think the Cowboys are stuck in a loop of insanity. That nothing is going to change until they get new ownership. Philadelphia Eagles, I should probably know my bird schedule off memory, but let me just double check. Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, Bucks, Broncos, Giants, Vikings, Giants, Packers, Lions, Cowboys, Bears. We got a bit of a tough schedule this year, but, you know, I can't dog on them too much. I mean, they're my favorite team. They're the Super Bowl champions. I got them above the Ravens. I think the draft went incredibly well for Philadelphia. We got a bunch of sneak picks. A lot of scary players fell to us. I think we got some much-needed replacements on defense. And I think that even though our defense will regress, it won't be by much. And then we'll go right back to where we are. I think Saquon Barkley is going to have another great season. I think Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown are going to have a stellar season together. They have some of the best chemistry in the NFL. I think that Dallas Goedert, he's going to prove himself to be a top 5 tight end this year. I think the Philadelphia offensive line are going to improve even more from last year. And I think that defensive line is going to carry them to another 14-win season. I got them going 14-3. Commanders, same boat. I'm going to put them in between the Ravens and the Bills. Why? I don't like complimenting my division rivals. I really don't. But the Commanders, I think, are going to give Philadelphia a run for their money this year. I think they're going to barely not win the division. I got them with 12 wins to Philadelphia's 14. I think they're going to choke a game to Dallas with ego. And that's pretty much going to cost the season because I got Philly sweeping Dallas. It's going to be close between them. But with that one loss against Dallas that I'm thinking they're going to have is going to cost the Commanders the division. And I have, for the first time in like 30 years, Philadelphia winning the NFC East back-to-back. I'm saving the Giants for last. The Chicago Bears. God. Barely 9 wins. I think they improved in the offseason. I think they will be a decent contender for a wild card spot, but the issue is you have the big three right here. Vikings, Green Bay, Lions, Green Bay, Vikings. And with so much firepower on one team, I don't think the Bears are going to do enough to get out of last. They're going to make it a bit more competitive than last season. But I don't see the Chicago Bears winning the division. I think they're going to have a good season. Not great. Maybe make a wild card spot if they get lucky. And, let's just get to the point, the big three. Lions, you go right up here with Washington. Vikings, I got them doing a little bit better than the Bears. Green Bay, you're going to be second place in the... Actually, I'm going to swap Vikings and Green Bay. I think the Vikings, even though they lost Sam Darnold, who they're hyping up to be this legendary quarterback now, I don't think it's going to do much. I really have a lot of hope in their young roster. You have Justin Jefferson, and I'm forgetting his name, but you have that young quarterback who didn't get a chance to play last year. Pretty much the same theme you have last year. Weaponry. I think it all varies on that rookie. But if that rookie succeeds and excels, they're going to get a comfortable second place in the division. Green Bay, it's the exact opposite. I think they have a great defense and O-line. I'm just not comfortable in Jordan Love, and I'm not comfortable in the weapons they have. I think Green Bay will have a winning season, 9-8. I think the Bears and Packers are going to tie at 9-8. Flip-flop between those two for last and third. They're not going to have bad seasons, but they're just not going to be on the level of the Vikings and Lions. Carolina, okay, God, this division. Buccaneers, give me 10 wins with the Bucks. Saints, I'll go over all these picks once I put them all there. Alright, let's go over each of this division really, really quick. We'll speed through this division because it's kind of the same story. The Buccaneers have too many weapons. Baker Mayfield is probably the most underrated quarterback in the entirety of the NFL. I have them winning the division comfortably with 10 wins, 7 losses. Falcons and Saints are very interchangeable. I think what's going to decide it is how good the quarterback room will be for the Atlanta Falcons versus the Saints. I think that's generally all it's going to come down to is who's going to have the better quarterback room between the two. If the Saints have the better quarterback room, because they pretty much have the same strength of schedule, Saints have a better quarterback, they go above the Falcons. If the Falcons have the better quarterback, they go above the Saints. But until then, they're pretty much going to have the exact same record of 8-9, maybe 9-8. Cardinals, I'm going to actually make I got them at 5 or 6 wins. I don't think the Cardinals ever do enough to take them to another level. And so I'm going to put them at the very bottom of 6-8 because I don't think it's going to get anything above 6, and it's more than likely going to be like 5 wins. The issue with the Cardinals for me is sort of like the Cowboys in the fact that they don't ever do enough to fix their team. They get these superstars. They have a great season. They lose the superstars. They act like they didn't lose the superstars. And then they just continue on with the cycle for the remaining bottom of the barrel players they have. I think they improved a little bit this offseason. Not by much, but just enough to get them out of the awful tier. They're going to be... This is what I'm calling the mid-tier. These are the teams right here that are not going to be great. Like these teams, they're not going to be awful like these teams, but they're just middle of the road, mid. Rams, I actually have them winning the division. This is a hard one for me because I kind of want to put them in 12 to 14. But I think the Rams are going to have the most underrated offense in the NFL this year. I'm going to put them above the Chiefs. I'm going to have them at 11 wins. What else do I need to say? They have a high-powered offense, a great offensive line. They just traded for a stellar receiver. Now they have one of the best receiving duos in the entire NFL with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. What else do I need to say? I don't think they're going to be a Super Bowl team. They're not going to be a Super Bowl team. They're not going to win a Super Bowl. But I genuinely can see the Rams being a dark horse team in the NFL, getting 11 wins, making the playoffs, making a run, and losing at either the semifinals or the championship. 49ers, 4 to 5 wins. Seattle, I'll put them right there with the Bengals. 49ers, they lost every player they had. And I think what sort of decided my pick on the 49ers and how bad they're going to be this season is the $275 million contract you gave to Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, in my mind, he is in the same quarterback room as Derek Carr, as Dak Prescott, and as the other bus drivers. Great when you give him weapons. But this is the first time he's ever going to have a season to where he's not going to have a Debo. He's not going to have a prime Christian McCaffrey to throw it to and run it with. He's not going to have a prime George Kittle. He's not going to have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. The San Francisco 49ers team before this season and last season had the best roster in the entire NFL. Close to Philadelphia. But now they have nothing. Literally have nothing. Not a single bit of hope. I'd be surprised if they get 4 to 5 wins. But I'm going to put them there because I think Brock Purdy's going to do just enough to get them out of that tier. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Why did I say the Giants last? Oh, my dresser almost just fell. Nope, stop. Ah! Why do I have the Giants dead last? And that's a good question. Why did I save them till last? Well, because they're gonna be the absolute, without a doubt, no hesitation whatsoever, no doubt in my mind. There's no hesitation in this pick. There's so much in my mind, so much thought that went into this, that they're going to be the absolute worst team in the NFL. 0 wins. Their roster sucks. Quarterback battle between a washed Russell Wilson, Jameis, throw an interception, Winston, and some rookie I've never heard of. I think his name is Jackson Dart. You have a young receiver, nothing else on the offense. You don't have a running back. You don't have an O-line. You don't have a defense. You have Dexter Lawrence on defense, and he's about to retire. You have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL this year, where you're going against the Chiefs, Bills, Eagles twice, Commanders twice, Cowboys twice. And this is the first time ever. I'd be surprised if they get a single win this season. I think they have a chance to get a win or two. I think they have some easy opponents every now and then. But genuinely speaking, this is the first time since the 2017 Cleveland Browns that I have looked at an NFL team and gone, man, They could legitimately have an 0-17 season. And that is sad. I think they might be the first team to ever do that. I think the Cleveland Browns, they happened before they added that extra game. I think they were 0-16. I'll have to double check that. But they might have the first time ever, the first ever 0-17 team. And this is not just me hate watching. This is not me rooting on the downfall because I'm a Philadelphia fan. This is me disgusted by the choices made by the head coaching staff. Disgusted by the draft picks. Disgusted by the room. Disgusted by the fan base. Disgusted with the team in general. And that is why I have the New York Giants being the only team to get 0 wins this season. With that out the way, I guess I'll just run through the power rankings and then we will wrap up this part of the stream. Hang on, let me strap up my boot real quickly and then we'll run through the ranks. And I'll explain everything in detail. Dead last, you have the New York Giants. Need I say more? Worst roster in the NFL. Cleveland Browns. I think they could be in the same level with no wins, but I don't see that happening. I think they're going to probably get it 2 or 3. Same thing with the Tennessee Titans at number 30. They just didn't do enough in the offseason to get them out of that awful limbo they're in. I have my Miami Dolphins up there. I think they're going to regress a lot. I think they got rid of a lot of their best weaponry. I don't think Tyreek is going to do enough to carry them further. I think Tyreek's going to leave after this season. And then I have the Patriots getting just above them. Actually, I'm going to put the Patriots above the Steelers. So number 28, Dolphins. Number 27, Steelers. Number 26, New England Patriots. 25, the Panthers. 24, Jaguars. 23, Raiders. 22, 49ers. 21, Cardinals. 20, Jets. 19, Saints. 18, Falcons. 17, Colts. 16, Cowboys. 15, Seattle Seahawks. 14, Bengals. 13, Bears. 12, Packers. 11, Buccaneers. 10, Texans. Oh, we are way off. Okay, never mind. I'm stupid. I did not count that right. Let's run through this list again. My bad. 32 Giants, 31 Browns, 30 Titans, 29 Dolphins, 28 Steelers, 27 Patriots, 26 Panthers, 25 Jaguars, 24 Raiders, 23 49ers, 22 Cardinals, 21 Jets, 20 Saints, 19 Falcons, 18 Colts, 17 Cowboys, 16 Seattle Seahawks, 15 Bengals, 14 Bears, 13 Colts, 12 Buccaneers, 11 Texans, 10 will go to the Minnesota Vikings, 9 Chargers, 8 Kansas City Chiefs, 7 Los Angeles Rams, 6 Broncos, 5 Bills, 4 Commanders, 3 Lions, 2 Ravens, and 1 Philadelphia. And if I had to make a Super Bowl prediction, it'll either be the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Detroit Lions or the Philadelphia Eagles. With that out the way, thank you all for tuning into this part of my stream. I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day. May God bless you. For those on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe for more content. And with that out the way, I bid you all adieu, mwah, and good night, bang. See you all in the next episode.